Welcome to the committee. Would you please state your name, the town you're from, and you have 1 minute and 15 seconds to testify. You may begin.
Thank you. My name is Adam Barry. I'm calling from Scituate, Rhode Island. Thanks for the opportunity to speak today. I'd like to express my opposition to the gun control bills. These are solutions looking for a problem that simply does not exist and only victimizes the law-abiding. I like to base my opinions on factual data and not emotionally charged rhetoric. According to CDC, Rhode Island has the lowest firearm mortality rate in the entire country. It's 3.5 times lower than the national average. These are numbers to be proud of. Nationally, the FBI statistics show that firearms, meaning so-called assault rifles described in these bills, which is factually incorrect, are minuscule in comparison to total deaths. It's because they're not assault rifles. They're used in less murders than blunt objects, less than knives, and less than fists. Knives account for 4 times as many murders as the so-called assault rifle. Are we reviewing legislation for background checks on kitchen knife sets? No. We do not have widespread gun violence problems in the state that necessitates these rights-trampling laws. History has shown that these laws have not worked in other areas such as Chicago and D.C. The very meaning of a criminal means that they break the law. The FBI says that 80% of violent crimes committed by gangs, these laws have not affected them. It needs to be emphasized that the sickness of the mind is the weapon. Firearms don't kill people, knives don't kill people, cars don't kill people, but drunk drivers do. The problem is not the inanimate object, it is the criminal element, and we should focus on addressing that. I implore you to support the Constitution, embrace Rhode Island's history as the first state to declare independence from restrictive regulations, and to oppose the gun control legislation that erodes the freedoms of the citizens of the state. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Welcome to the committee. Would you please state your name, the town that you're from, and you have 1 minute and 15 seconds to testify, and you may begin.
It's Dan Badandi. I'm from Cranston, Rhode Island, and I want to testify against and oppose in all these draconian anti-gun bills and, the so-called gun control that leaves people dead because this gun control needs to stop, man. I'm a news host, and I got California, you got D.C., you got all over the country. Philadelphia, you got Chicago. They pride themselves on the greatest gun control, but yet every weekend I'm pulling up articles how hundreds of people are dying, getting shot, and dozens of people getting killed. And these are all gangbangers and thugs where gun control exists. And you got in the 1900s alone, how many millions of people got killed by the hands of their own governments because they gave up their guns? I'm not going to be a victim of that. And I will defend my constitutional rights. I took oath on the Constitution. I will defend my Second Amendment, and there's not a damn thing anybody's going to do about it. Nobody's going to come take my guns without a war. 1776 will begin again, plain and simple. And I want that reiterated all through this entire state and everybody out there that's trying to push these draconian laws. They will be held accountable. If I have to run for office one day, I will hold everyone accountable for the acts of treason. And then, this is out of control. Every year we're going to fight for our rights, and we're sick of it, plain and simple. And we're not going to stand it no more. We're not going to tolerate this stuff.
Thank you very much.
And we're going to stand for our rights. We're going to keep defending our rights, plain and simple, because this is out of control.
Thank you.
And
Thank you,
don't
Dan.
have
Senator
army or
Rogers,
force big enough to
Senator
come take our
Rogers
guns.
has a question for you, Dan. Senator Rogers,
Sure.
go ahead.
Dan, you seem like a very passionate guy. What does to keep and bear arms mean to you?
To keep and bear arms is simple. If you read what James Madison said, the right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed, and it says whatever type of firearm necessary. Plain and simple. If you read the Federalist Papers and all this stuff from James Madison and the Founding Fathers, any type of firearm necessary to effectively secure our freedoms in this country. And, it's just not just for hunting and duck hunting. It's mainly the number one cause is to protect ourselves from our own government. That's what it means to me. That's what the Founding Fathers wrote engraved in stone. That's what that means. And I am not going to give my firearms for the government has no authority or right or power to touch this with a 10-foot pole. And they certainly, we're not going to allow that to happen. You got over 100 million gun owners right now in this country, and every day you people call for gun control. We're buying out the ammunition at the stores. We're buying out the guns at the stores. We are not going to go down. We're not going to be the next victim of this damn tyrannical gun control, where hundreds of millions of innocent people get killed because a bunch of bureaucrats want to take our guns. It's not for safety. It's for the control. That's all it is, and we're not going to allow that to happen. Unless you guys want another 1776, I highly suggest you don't do that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a nice night. Welcome to the committee. Would you please state your name, the town that you're from, and you have 1 minute and 15 seconds to testify. You may begin.
Ay, sí se quedaron callados.
La que pregunta lo que están en contra de la...
Ajá.
Senator Dela Cruz, Senator there we go. Senator Quesada, you were on mute. Welcome to the committee. Would you please state your name, the town that you're from, and you have 1 minute and 15 seconds to testify. You may begin.
My name is James Dubois, 14 Wood Avenue, live in Tiverton, Rhode Island. I am basically stating that any of these anti-gun bills, S0073, S0129, S0406, S0414, S0415, S0416, S0417, S0737, S0742. I disagree with all of them. None of them should be voted through. They are things that just don't make sense, and they protect the people. They will not protect the people that are law-abiding citizens.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You have a nice night.
Yep.
Welcome to the committee. Would you please state your name, the town that you're from, and you have 1 minute and 15 seconds to testify. You may begin.
Yes. You're ready for me?
We are ready. Please, you may proceed. You have 1 minute and 15 seconds. Would you state your name, the town you're from, and you may begin.
Yes, this is Latisha Davis, Exeter, Rhode Island. I appreciate the opportunity to be able to speak, and I appreciate that I'm able to speak, which is because somebody protected me with a gun. I am opposed to all of the anti-Second Amendment legislation, which I won't list because it takes too long. But in none of this, it doesn't seem to be taken into account the fact that guns save many, many lives, and I'm one of them. Had somebody not had a firearm, I wouldn't be here today. So if you pass bills that make it difficult for law-abiding citizens to own the weapons of their choice, you can actually cost lives, and I think that's just totally wrong. The legislation is, the gun control legislation, it's supposed to be anti-gun violence. I think that's a complete misnomer. Guns don't do anything themselves. It's not gun violence, it's criminal violence. And so, a criminal can use any tool they want to cause harm. But guns can also be used for great benefit to people, and I'm one of those.
Thank you very much. Senator Dela Cruz has a question. Senator Dela Cruz.
Ms. Davis, you make a lot of sense. Almost, it's just like so common sense. You'd say criminals can use any weapon, right? Criminal violence is not necessarily gun violence. It could be, as you said, any weapon. So you had said that a firearm saved your life. Would you, if you feel comfortable, and if you don't, we totally understand, but if you feel comfortable, would you just tell us a little bit about how that is, what happened?
Yes, it was actually at sea, and we were within about, with feet of being boarded by pirates. My husband and I go to sea for a living. We had crew on board. They came up on us just at dawn when it was very difficult to see, and we had a gun aboard, as we always did on jobs. And my husband ran out on the stern with a gun and pointed at them, and they peeled off and took off. There were 6 people aboard, and we would, this was many years ago. A revolver would not be adequate nowadays. It would be completely inadequate. But 30 years ago, it was adequate, and they, came from a distance, were looking to, join us and getting ready to come aboard. And at that point, piracy has been alive and well, forever. And what tends to happen is if they get aboard, they just, kill the passengers and, whoever's aboard in the crew, if they can, take what they can and then scuttle the vessel. So
Senator Dela Cruz, you had a follow-up? Go ahead.
Yeah.
We
so,
were very narrow.
I'm hearing that what you're saying is if you didn't have a firearm, then you would have been injured or possibly resulting in the death of you and the passengers on your boat?
We were pretty well convinced of that, and my husband has actually had several other instances prior to that where he did have people get aboard and had to fire his gun in order to get them to get off. Again, this is a number of years ago, but yes, having a firearm aboard saved our lives. There was absolutely no question about it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You have a nice night.
Thank you.
Welcome to the committee. Would you please state your name, the town that you're from, and you have 1 minute and 15 seconds to testify. You may begin.
There was absolutely no question about it.
Hello? We're getting a background. Yes. Welcome to the committee. Would you please turn off the background channel? Welcome to the committee. Please state your name, the town you're from, and you have 1 minute and 15 seconds to testify, and you may begin.
Thank you. My name is Jane Coster from Jamestown, and thank you, Senator Archambault and the members of the Judiciary Committee for hearing us. I am president of the State League of Women Voters, and we thank you for the opportunity to address you this evening. We strongly support Senator Ruggiero's bill 073. This bill, which would prohibit possession of firearms, including concealed carry, on school grounds except by peace officers or retired law enforcement and security personnel, would help protect students and educators from the danger of intentional or accidental shootings. The massacre of unconscionable numbers of children and teachers has got to be stopped. Banning guns from school guns is the first step. But other laws you are considering today will also protect this vulnerable population. The League also submitted written testimony in support of Senate Bill 414, banning large capacity weapons, 415, banning assault weapons, 416, banning straw purchases of weapons for others, and 406, which mandates safe storage of all weapons. The League has submitted testimony opposing Senate Bill 507. That bill would allow concealed carry by anyone over 21 without a permit, and Senate Bill 509, which would mandate recognition in Rhode Island of concealed carry permits from other states, which may have less stringent permitting standards.
Thank you very much. Senator Dela Cruz, you have a question. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Chair.
Okay,
so
we
allow reciprocity for things like marriage licenses that aren't constitutionally guaranteed. My insurance works in other states. If I get injured in Massachusetts or Connecticut, I can, still ride an ambulance. There are so many of those instances in which there's a reciprocity, right? I don't need to get a new marriage license if I move to Florida. So I just don't understand why there's such a hesitation to grant reciprocity for something that is constitutionally guaranteed. Thank you.
Go ahead if you'd like to answer that. Go
but
ahead.
these bills are, as far as we are concerned, irresponsible and abrogate the state's duty to protect our citizens. So the League supports protecting the health and safety of all citizens of Rhode Island through sensible firearm legislation. And I do thank you, all of you and the committee tonight, for hearing so many of us. Thank you.
Thank you. Senator Dela Cruz has a follow-up question. Go ahead, Senator. You're muted, Senator.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Chair. Do you believe that all the legislation submitted that curtails the Second Amendment, do you believe that that's all common sense legislation? Are there any bills submitted? Hello? I think she's gone.
I don't think she's here. Thank you. Welcome to the committee. Would you please state your name, the town that you're from, and you have 1 minute and 15 seconds to testify. You may begin.
Okay. Joan Warwick. I would like to express my support for Senate Bill number 73. When children, regardless of age, attend school, one trusts they are in a safe, nurturing environment where they will learn the multitude of skills that will enable them to become happy, productive, responsible adults. Personal weaponry has no place in that environment. Our confidence as citizens must rest with the police officers and security personnel trained to evaluate and respond appropriately to complex situations. Your support for this bill is imperative and appreciated. Thank you for this opportunity to speak in favor of this bill.
Thank you very much. You have a good night.
Bye.
Welcome to the committee. Would you please state your name, the town that you're from? You have 1 minute and 15 seconds to testify, and you may begin.
My name is Brian Armijo, A-R-M-I-J-O. I live in Portsmouth, Rhode Island. I would like to say that I oppose all bills that hamper Second Amendment rights and support those that support Second Amendment rights. Specifically, I oppose 073, 129, 406, 414, 415, 416, 417, 737, and 742. And I support 119, 176, 191, 456, 507, 508, 509, 517, and 522. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Senator Dela Cruz.
I didn't get the opportunity to say this sooner, but as I was talking to some members of in the Second Amendment community, they had a petition going around and had 11,000 signatures. And just as tonight, we've had so many people call in opposition of these pieces of legislation curtailing the rights of law-abiding citizens, as this gentleman, Brian Armijo, I think, of Portsmouth. So thank you for calling in, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. You have a nice evening.
You too.
Welcome to the committee. Would you please state your name, the town that you're from, and you have 1 minute and 15 seconds to testify. You may begin.
Zachary McQuiston, Providence. I'm here to support the bills submitted by Senator De La Cruz and Senator Rogers, S 119, 176, 191, 456, 507, 508, 509, 517, and 522, and sure maybe a couple others that I missed. And then I'm against any of the restrictive anti-liberty bills going through, specifically 73, 129, 402, 406, 414, 415, 416, 417, especially 73, because I actually live on a street next to an elementary school. I don't want people stopping in front of my house manipulating their concealed weapons before they get on school property. The more you manipulate a handgun, the more likely you are to have an accidental discharge.
Thank you very much.
It should stay in the holster.
Thank you. You have a nice evening.
Thank you.
Welcome to the committee. Would you please state your name, the town that you're from, and you have 1 minute and 15 seconds to testify. You may begin.
Hi, thank you. My name is Jason Musone. I'm from East Providence, Rhode Island. And I just wanted to say that I understand you guys think that you're trying to help everybody by passing these new laws, when a lot of these laws do not target the people who perpetuate these crimes in our state, I think our Attorney General needs to start prosecuting people who use firearms illegally, who trade them, who sell them, and who carry them unlawfully. I, as a state citizen, have been denied my right to carry because I have no plausible cause to carry, because defending myself and the people around me against people who want to do us harm, it's just not right. And I think that these laws aren't going to help keep anybody safe. All they're going to do is just perpetuate more crimes, because the only ones with these firearms are going to be criminals. And you're going to create open season for everybody. I think we need to start looking at more common sense things to go after the criminals who are doing the crimes that you guys keep talking about. Then we need to start looking into the mental health of this country. Never mind the people in the state. It's countrywide. People are lost. People are hungry. People are worried about where we're headed.
Thank you very much. Senator Dela Cruz has a question. Senator?
Excuse me?
Sir, I believe, and I could be wrong, but I believe I heard you say that you applied for a license to carry and that you were denied. Tell me, what did you do to appeal the process, if anything at all?
I did not appeal the process.
Appeal the decision, not the process.
It was too time consuming. And when you're told that it's a shall issue state, meaning the Attorney General has the right to issue it to you, it comes down to what he thinks is right for you to do it. And because when I was the owner of a firearm store, I was allowed to permit to carry, work purposes only, but I was allowed to carry when I was working for the firearm store. But every time after that, if I had carried doing my normal day job or just going to the grocery store, and I was found to have it on me, I could have been prosecuted for illegally firing the weapon, for illegally carrying the weapon, because it wasn't for work purposes. And, shall issue is just kind of wrong, because you're letting one person decide if it's okay if somebody can carry or not.
Senator Dela Cruz, you have a follow-up. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, just a follow-up. Sir, so you had a license, but because you no longer were employed by the firearms store, you were no longer granted a license. Now, just wondering, a lot of people, if they try to appeal the decision, sometimes they don't get a chance at the Rhode Island Supreme Court because they won't hear the case. But let me ask you, do you have thousands of dollars disposable income to take your case to the Rhode Island Supreme Court?
I do not.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Have a nice evening.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Welcome to the committee. Would you please state your name, the town that you're from, and you have 1 minute and 15 seconds to testify. You may begin.
My name is Jason Cabral. I'm from Providence, Rhode Island. I just believe that as an American, we should be able to have all these rights, and things are getting taken away from us that aren't right. And I don't know. I just believe in the amendment to, right to bear arms, and the laws that are coming up now. I just don't agree with them. That's all I have to say.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You have a nice night. Welcome to the committee. Would you please state your name, the town that you're from, and you have 1 minute and 15 seconds to testify. You may begin.
Hello, I am Doug Marcroft, a Navy veteran from South Kingstown. It is disgraceful to limit citizens to 4.3 seconds to discuss each of these 21 bills. I will make a few quick points. Many gun owners switched to smaller caliber firearms years ago for increased magazine capacity. If magazines are limited to 10 rounds, I predict owners will switch back to larger caliber firearms, and death rates will increase for those shot. Something to think about. Every year, some members of this committee disregard their oath of office and continue to chip away at our Second Amendment rights. Only a lying politician would state otherwise. Outlawing the vast majority of centerfire rifles Rhode Island citizens already own is wrong, unreasonable, and clearly unconstitutional. Only traitors to our nation would support clearly unconstitutional firearm and magazine bans. Legislation like this is dividing up our country and is unacceptable. For the good news, I'll be proud to be part of the Rhode Island effort to overturn firearm bans nationwide, which I predict will happen if these outrageous semi-automatic and magazine bans become law. Citizens require semi-automatic firearms and standard-sized magazines for the same reason the police currently have them. These are the best effective tools for self-protection of an armed attacker. In the summary, please oppose all these anti-gun firearm bills.
Thank you very much. Senator Dela Cruz has a question. Senator.
Yes.
Doug, I didn't catch your last name, so I'm sorry. I heard you say that you served in the Navy. Is that correct?
Sorry, my last name is Doug. Is Morcroft, Moorcroft. And what was the other part of your question?
Did you say that you served in the Navy?
Yes.
Well, first I want to thank you for your service to this country, and I mean that sincerely. For giving of your time, taking time away from your family to serve us, and that we would be safe in this country. I want to ask you, as someone who served our country, who did so to protect our liberties, how do you feel about the legislature trying to curtail the Second Amendment?
It is so unreasonable. I just can't find the words to describe how shocked I am that people would even consider some of these bills. I mean, this is what is dividing up our country, and people don't seem to grasp that fact. It is totally unreasonable to outlaw rifles, centerfire rifles that the vast majority of us own. And I am positive the Supreme Court will turn this around if this becomes law in Rhode Island.
Thank you very much. You have a nice night.
Thanks.
Welcome to the committee. Would you please state your name, the town that you're from, and you have 1 minute and 15 seconds to testify. You may begin.
Hi, my name is John Banevolta from the town of Warren. I just want to identify myself as a veteran, a Navy veteran, a hospital corpsman for about 15 years, and I'm also a registered nurse. I started this journey a long time ago to get my concealed carry permit, and the reason I did that is because I was confronted by a person who was seeking medication that I may have had on my person. So at that time, I felt it was very important for myself to protect me and my family against somebody that might be seeking medications that may be sick themselves. But on top of it, it was something that I thought I was doing for the right reasons. So with years of carrying a concealed carry permit, off duty, obviously, I can't do that as a nurse, but I've just come to a point where it just seems like we're losing focus of what's important to all of us, which is personal protection, and also to protect our families. But it just seems like we don't really take the time to understand each other's viewpoints. Like, we sit here and we're wrestling about gun control, but meanwhile, in the streets of Providence, we have issues going on with ATVs and motorcycles that are out of control. But we can't even control that. But we have a revenue here of that. But it makes a lot of money for the state. But we're worried about it because
Thank you for your testimony. You have finished you've met the 1 minute, 15 second mark. I believe Senator Rogers has a question for you.
Thank you so much. Yep.
Hold on. Before you go, are you still there?
Yes, Senator Rogers, I am.
Yeah, no, you sound like a very well-versed guy. How do you feel about the bill that requires you to have your guns in your house locked up? I mean, how's that one hit you?
Well, it doesn't hit me very good because the mere fact of this, it's like I have to lock up my guns, and the criminal who enters my home does not have to lock up his gun when he enters my home. So when he enters his home, he becomes now part of my household, which he does not belong in. So I have to say, excuse me, sir, wait 1 second, or ma'am, whoever it may be, I need to unlock my guns, load my gun, take my gun out, and now try to stop you from coming in the home. Not to shoot you, but try to stop you from coming out of the home. So how does that, for time, really make sense? He's got his gun drawn, pointed at me. He's already pulled the trigger. Now I'm dead, and now he's going on to kill the rest of my family. So it doesn't make sense from a safety point of view. I am a safe gun owner, and like I said, a registered nurse. I know how to place my gun in a certain place in the home where only I know where that's at. So for somebody to come into my home and tell me that I have to lock up my gun, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't really make sense. It's not common sense, at least. It takes 3 seconds for that person to pull the trigger versus it's going to take me 15 minutes to find a gun and load it. Senator Rogers, that would be my answer to that, sir.
Thank you very much for your testimony. We'll now move to the next witness. Welcome to the Committee on Judiciary. If you would kindly state your name, the town you are from, and you have 1 minute and 15 seconds. You may begin.
Hi, my name's George Kilbourne. I grew up in Providence, but currently reside in East Providence. I would just like to add my name to the list of people that is in favor of constitutional carry and against all of the new anti-gun legislation. In particular, any sort of ban on modern sporting rifles, which some people choose to call assault weapons, and any sort of ban on magazines that come standard with handguns and modern rifles. I also think that it's a shame that people behind this legislation are trying to jam it through during a pandemic when the rest of us citizens can't be at the State House and participate in any way. And I also think it's a shame that, our state is reducing its, lawmaking criteria to go with the lowest common denominator, the bad actors, the criminal. I think this legislation will only harm regular citizens. Again, the bad guys, the crazy people, even the affluent will continue to have their firearms. Thank you
very much. Your time has expired. We'll now move on to the next witness.
Thank you.
Welcome to the Committee on Judiciary. If you could please state your name, the town you're from, and you have 1 minute and 15 seconds. You may begin.
Yes, my name is Michael Buckley. I'm from North Scituate, Rhode Island. I would just like to state that I am opposed to the following gun control bills: S73, S129, 406, 414, 415, 416, 417, 737, and 742. They will not do any good for us here in Rhode Island. I would like to say that I am for bills 119, 176, 191, 456, 507, 308, 508, 509, 517, and 522. Thank you for the time.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your testimony. We'll now move to the next witness. Welcome to the committee. Please state your name, the town you are from, and you have 1 minute and 15 seconds. You may begin.
My name is Rafael Vasilevskiy. I live in Warwick. Only thing I wanted to say is that I oppose any new gun control bills.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Hello?
Welcome to the committee. Please state your name, the town you are from, and you have 1 minute and 15 seconds. You may begin.
Hi, my name is Karla Falco. I'm from Johnston, Rhode Island, and I would like to thank you for hearing my testimony tonight and just jump right in and say I oppose S415. Most firearm owners, the vast majority of us really, are good, responsible, and safe people. They have integrity, want the same thing. Many of those who are in favor of this bill, which is a safer community. Banning assault weapons, quote unquote, will not really get us any closer to the heart of the issue, which is violence. Many other causes of death far exceed the use of rifles and similar firearms. For example, according to the FBI in 2018, 443 deaths involved blunt objects, 297 involved rifles. Violence is the overall issue, and to reduce overall violence, according to the American Psychological Association, targeting risk factors and protective factors of violence at the community level will engender the greatest change. Community-level risk factors for violence include decreased employment opportunities, and community participation, increased poverty and transiency.
Thank you for your testimony. It's been 1 minute and 15 seconds. Yes, Senator De La Cruz, you have a question.
I just want to say, thank you, Chair. I just want to say that I've heard from a lot of women today, and I know a lot of times the narrative is, the League of Women Voters or the Moms Demand Action, that there are moms who are just against firearms and want more legislation to curtail our rights. But I've heard from so many women tonight, including this woman here from Johnston. And thank you for calling in and quoting FBI statistic data and not from political action groups. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Senator. We'll now move to the next witness. Good evening. Please state your name, the town you are from. You have 1 minute and 15 seconds. You may begin.
Hi, it's Dan Devine. I'm from Charlestown, Rhode Island. Just wanted to say that these gun bills are definitely an infringement on the rights that we have as citizens, and they don't actually do anything to the criminals and the people that are causing the problems with these guns. And they're very unclear and general, and they're a blanket attack. They're just like a big blanket of kind of like nonsense. It doesn't really make sense. Anyway, so that's basically all I wanted to say. There's many of the different bills that I disagreed with, and it all happened really quickly over the weekend, so I wanted to make sure that I was able to voice my opinion.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your testimony. Moving on to the next witness. Good evening. Welcome to the committee. Please state your name, the town you're from. You have 1 minute and 15 seconds. You may begin.
Hi, my name is Andrew Kowalski from the town of West Warwick. I just want to call up and ask you guys to please oppose these restrictive gun laws that are really offering no solution to hold criminals accountable for their actions. And instead, these laws look to go after law-abiding citizens who go through the proper channels to purchase firearms and to legally own firearms and to go through the proper process to conceal carry these firearms. And these laws do nothing to help these law-abiding citizens. And I think everybody is all for people with mental health issues not obtaining firearms, and people with violent criminal histories or domestic criminal histories. Those people should not be allowed to get firearms, and the decisions that those people make to get them and commit crimes with them shouldn't cause laws that infringe on law-abiding citizens. So please just take the time to really go over these bills and
thank you very much for thank you for your testimony this evening. Moving on to our next witness. Good evening. Welcome to the committee. Please state your name, the town you are from. You have 1 minute and 15 seconds. You may begin.
Hi, my name is Matthew Banderi. I live in Westerly, Rhode Island. Testifying against Bill S414 and S415. I'm opposing both of them. The assault weapons bans direct infringement on our rights. It's being pushed under the guise of saving lives, but most of the mass shootings are done with handguns. Why are we coming for the rifles? Everyone wants to save lives and stop shooting, but this is not the way to do it. The magazine ban is also an infringement on our rights. I know I need to adequately protect myself in any situation, and that's what the Second Amendment was written for. In Connecticut, after an AR-15 ban, 85% of gun owners have not registered or turned in their rifles. In New Jersey, after a restriction on magazine size, not a single one was turned in. These laws have failed in other states. Why are we trying them here? They force legal gun owners to choose, either turn in your weapons or become a felon. And the statistics show what people choose. Don't force Rhode Islanders to make the same choice. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much for your testimony. Moving on to the next witness. Good evening. Welcome to the committee. Please state your name, the town you are from. You have 1 minute and 15 seconds. You may begin your testimony.
Hi, my name is Chris Mayer from Lincoln, Rhode Island. The statistics I'll be quoting was from an FBI study from 2007 to 2017. I am opposing all gun control bills, and I'm supporting all pro-gun control bills because I have no time to list the bills because I only have 1 minute and 15 seconds. So for the so-called assault weapons ban, with according to the FBI, with an average of 13,657 homicides per year during that time frame, I originally said, about 0.1% of homicides were produced by mass shootings involving an AR-15. So the things with these mass shootings is they're greatly publicized, but they are rare. So they get everybody all worked up over firearms that really don't have too much to do with overall homicides. So it also between 2007 to 2017, there's 1,700 people who were murdered with a knife or sharp object per year. That's almost 4 times the number of people murdered by an assailant with any sort of rifle at all. As far as the lock up your firearms, yeah, that's a great idea. But as many people said, when you're home, if
Thank
somebody
you,
breaks in,
sir.
you're in trouble.
Thank you for your testimony. If you could hold on, I believe Senator Rogers has a question for you. Senator Rogers.
Thank you, Senator Coyne. Those statistics, were they FBI statistics? I think you mentioned. Where'd you get the data from? Because I know tonight a lot of people have been throwing around data, but they haven't had the ability to back it up. So, where was those statistics from?
So
you broke up.
Okay, so it's there's an article from the Foundation for Economic Education. It's called "Are AR-15 Rifles a Public Safety Threat?" Here's what the data says. So they went through the CDC and the homicides. So these are from the FBI because the FBI not only looks at accidental deaths, but the reasoning behind the homicides as to why they went after them. Why was it mass shooting? Was it mass shooting? Was it not a mass shooting? Was it criminal intent? Was it gang related? There's specific definitions of a mass shooting that the FBI has. So you need to use those statistics in order to call something a mass shooting, having those definitions.
Thank you.
Thanks.
The next witness, please. Welcome to the committee. Please state your name, the town you are from. You have 1 minute and 15 seconds. You may begin.
All right, thank you. My name is John Vitorino. I'm from Lincoln, Rhode Island. I want to call to oppose all the gun ban bills, and I submitted written testimony, so I won't go through all of those for lack of time. But I do want to highlight 415 and 414, and I want to stress something that has been mentioned a few times, but I don't know if it's gotten across it. I want to make sure all the committee members are aware that what's called this large capacity feed-in device ban, which is really a standard capacity ban, the removable fall-plate issue is really a big issue. This will really outlaw 90-something% of all modern guns in existence today. I want to make it very clear that you guys understand that that's what you're doing there. This is not just banning and saying you can only have 10-round magazines. And I want to make a comment. Somebody from the Attorney General's office was on earlier, and they were trying to equate this to what Massachusetts did. I'm very familiar with the Massachusetts law, and this is nothing like that. This is much more restrictive. And I was happy to say that she said crime dropped in Massachusetts because of those laws. And I'll point out, none of the Massachusetts laws grandfathered both the large capacity magazines and the firearms. So thousands of those are still in circulation in Massachusetts, and yet crime has gone down.
Thank you for your testimony. It's 1 minute and 15 seconds.
You're welcome.
Thank you. We will move to the next witness, please. Good evening. Welcome to the Committee on Judiciary. Please state your name, the town you are from. You have 1 minute and 15 seconds. You may begin.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair, and members of the Senate Committee. Thank you for this time to speak. My name is James Dawley. I live in West Warwick. I'm a U.S. Army veteran, a husband, father of two, and ultimately a law-abiding gun owner. For roughly 10 years, I fought for this country and my fellow Americans' rights while serving in the armed services. These anti-gun bills completely go against what myself and countless servicemen and women have fought for to protect and what they've sacrificed to preserve our rights and freedoms. I am wholeheartedly opposed to these anti-gun bills. The Second Amendment is one of our most fundamental rights and freedoms as Americans, with emphasis on those two words, rights and freedoms. The simple fact is guns don't kill people. Criminals, mentally sick, and violent, broken people commit these inconceivable, heinous acts that we all want to prevent. Not by responsible, law-abiding citizens. I feel that we need to focus on supporting our police, enforcing our laws, and locking up these violent criminals. Disarming law-abiding citizens and responsible gun owners would make matters worse by taking away the ability to protect our families.
Thank you.
And keep ourselves.
Thank you, sir, for your testimony and for your service to our country. We do appreciate it, and thank you for taking the time to testify this evening. We will now move to the next witness. Good evening. Welcome to the Committee on Judiciary. Please state your name, the town you are from. You have 1 minute and 15 seconds. You may begin.
My name is Robert Hall from Richmond, Rhode Island. Every year, Rhode Island is flooded with anti-gun legislation financed to undermine our constitutional rights by out-of-state, socialist to communist political and logistical contributions. Supporting it is a moral and legal violation of your oath of office to the Rhode Island Constitution, which clearly states the right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Restrictive gun bills S0073, 129, 406, 414, 415, 416, 417, 737, and 742 fail to impact shootings committed by criminals using legally acquired guns, while making it difficult for good people to own effective firearms to protect themselves against home invasions and direct assaults by armed criminals. Failure to oppose these bills will demonstrate contempt for the Rhode Island Constitution, federal law, ownership of legal personal property, and indifferently expose Rhode Islanders to unacceptable personal risk. Consider the consequences of your actions very carefully.
Thank you, Mr. Hall, for your testimony and joining for us this evening. The next witness, please. Good evening. Please state your name, the town you're from. You have 1 minute and 15 seconds. You may begin.
My name is Richard Morse from East Providence, Rhode Island. I'd like to thank the committee for your time, and I would also wish to urge the committee to reject all the gun control bills before the committee. My primary argument is the Brady campaign and the Gifford Center for the Advancement of Gun Control. They both rank Rhode Island the same. That Rhode Island is in the top 10 for gun control states in the entire country. We are an outlier. They rank us. They both agree we're number 9 in most gun control. We have plenty of gun control. We're heavily restricted. New legislation will dramatically, materially, real-world impact Rhode Islanders for as long as they intend to be Rhode Islanders, and will not produce a public safety benefit. There's no more gun control that can be accomplished that will produce a public safety benefit. Please reject any more that will not accomplish what its proponents wish that it did. It won't. That's the kicker to this legislation. It will impact us negatively, and it won't accomplish any good.
Thank you, Mr. Morse, for your testimony. Thank you for taking the time to join us this evening. Our next witness, please. Good evening. Welcome to the Committee on Judiciary. Please state your name, the town you're from.
Hi, good evening.
You have 1 minute and 15
This
seconds.
is Jeff
You may
Goyet.
begin.
I'm from Portsmouth, Rhode Island.
What is your name, sir?
It's Jeff Goyet.
Oh, thank you. You may begin.
Hi, thank you, committee, for letting me speak on my behalf this evening. I just want to bring to the attention that I'm hearing a lot of combat-style assault weapons and, so many different terms on these firearms that are being forth in this bill. I don't know if anybody knows this, but machine guns in the United States, there's over 2.9 million registered machine guns, lawful owners. And there's also over 1 million suppressors. And when I hear combat-style assault weapons, these are not readily available to citizens in the United States. So, the last time, 1997, Hollywood, California, a machine gun that was actually modified firearm that was turned into a machine gun is actually the last time a machine gun was, I believe, used. There's 6.1 million felons in the United States. We need to address how they're getting the guns, and the capacity of magazines have nothing to do with it. A felon is a felon, and they're going to get a hold of any type of weapon necessary. And I'd like to thank the committee for hearing me this evening, and appreciate your time.
Is the caller on the line?
Yes.
Okay. Please state your name, the town you're from. You have 1 minute and 15 seconds. You may begin.
Thank you. My name is Michael Gilman. I'm from Scituate, Rhode Island. I wanted to call to ask the committee to oppose all the gun control bills and to support the pro-gun legislation. But specifically, I wanted to speak to the so-called assault weapons ban. And I just wanted to... I'm a little confused on this bill, the way it's worded, because it seems like the people who wrote it don't understand what the components of this are. Simply because if this is passed, most people that own these modern sporting rifles will become felons, as is. But for $100, I can buy a couple of bits of plastic, install them on my rifle, and then it becomes a compliant rifle, because everything in that bill is about cosmetic features and not functionality for anything. So I just wanted to say that the bills that are written, the way they're written, just don't make any sense, and they really need to be researched a little bit better before they're even brought up. And during that research, you're going to realize that it's not about what you're doing. You're trying to ban the guns, and not about trying to control the criminals, right? Because the plastic bits on there are not what makes it dangerous, but that's what these bills are about. It's about a removable base plate on the magazines. It's about a stock on an adjustable stock, so my wife can shoot the same rifle as me.
Thank you, Mr. Gilman.
So I don't oppose all those. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us this evening. May we have the next witness, please? Welcome to the committee. Please state your name, the town you are from. You have 1 minute and 15 seconds. You may begin.
Yes, ma'am. My name is Michael Day. I'm from Warwick, Rhode Island. I'm a father of an 11-year-old, a husband to a teacher, and a registered Democrat that votes in every election. I do not support the emotion-based gun controls of 73, 129, 402, 406, 414, 415, 416, and 417. I do support 119, 176, 191, 456, 507, 508, 509, 517, and 522. In 2018, the Rockefeller Institute did a study on mass shootings. I sent in my written testimony. I'm hoping someone takes the time to read it. It basically goes through and talks about that knee-jerk reactions rooted in emotion will not solve this problem of mass shootings that we are currently dealing with. And that thought needs to go into it to actually search out and root out the problems. Some of the things that are in there is that handguns are used three times more likely than any assault weapon. And that there needs to be more evidence-based solutions and a growing problem. So therefore, what I'm going for here is I really wish that someone would take the time to read and listen to the science as we've been told this year over and over and over again, and not go based on emotion. And that's all I have at this time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Day. I believe Senator De La Cruz has a question for you.
Hi, yes.
Thank you, Mr. Day. Thank you, Mr. Day, for calling in. I have a constituent who's also a Democrat, and she identified herself as more liberal-leaning. And she, too, had a lot of concerns with some of the bills. So thank you for calling in and letting us know where you stand. And also, it shows the committee that it's not just Republicans or independents that oppose these bills, but it's both Republicans and Democrats and independents. So thank you for calling in and waiting all this time to talk to us.
I couldn't agree more, Senator. Thank you so much for taking my time.
Thank you very much. Our next witness. Good evening. Welcome to the committee. Please state your name, the town you are from. You have 1 minute and 15 seconds. You may begin.
Brian Martha, Pawtucket, Rhode Island. I vehemently oppose these uncommon sense gun control bills, including the following that impact me. S-129, the Attorney General has an agenda which is biased against law-abiding gun owners, and he should not be the sole authority when it comes to CCW permits. He won't even generate a report on gun crimes because he knows the numbers do not fit his agenda. The magazine ban, let us call this what it is. It's a semi-automatic gun ban. This is outright disarmament, exactly what they want. This ban would cost me more than $1,000. Safe storage. Forcing me to lock up my firearms while I am in my own home is ridiculous. Doing so makes them inaccessible and could be deadly to me in time of danger when seconds count. If I am not home, they are locked up. 14 states might have this law, but that means 36 do not. It is my job to protect myself, not everyone else. I do not have children, but if a child comes into my home, I, as a responsible gun owner, will lock up my gun if it is not on my hip. The assault weapons ban, this ban would ban most semi-automatic rifles in possession today, which there are tens of thousands in Rhode Island.
Thank you for your
grandfathers if owners register.
Yes,
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your testimony this evening. We must move on to our next witness. Next up. Good evening. Welcome to the committee. Please state your name, the town you are from. You have 1 minute and 15 seconds. You may begin.
Hello, my name is Maggie Reinstein. I live in Wakefield in Senator Sosnowski's district, and I'm speaking in support of S-406, the gun safe storage bill. Earlier this month, my nephew Chad would have turned 33 years old. He was beloved in our community. He was a gifted athlete at Narragansett. But over a decade ago, Chad ran into a bad patch of typical teenage problems. Girlfriend, school. We knew things had, in the family, that things had gotten worse. He was being treated for suicidal depression. So why, senators, during this particularly vulnerable time, after a particularly horrid night of protracted fights with his girlfriend, was his grandfather's loaded handgun still in the same easily accessible spot it had always been in? So Chad could easily grab the gun and kill himself quickly. So what does it take, senators, for gun owners to act more responsibly when they are around children and the vulnerable? Perhaps a $5,000 fine if your firearm is not stored, which is what is proposed in S-406, is a good start. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your testimony. I'm sorry to hear about the tragedy in your family, but we must move on to our next witness. Thank you again. Good evening. Welcome to the committee. Please state your name, the town you are from. You have 1 minute and 15 seconds. You may begin.
Hi, my name is John Adjian. I'm from Coventry, Rhode Island. And I wanted to talk to you about the high-capacity magazine ban. As somebody with a permit to carry, the handgun I would carry would hold 13 rounds. And those extra rounds for somebody that carries is like a difference of life and death. As far as you wanting to ban anything above 10 rounds for, public safety or mass shootings, it's almost irrelevant because these people, they don't care about magazine capacity. They'll carry multiple magazines. They'll reload. It just makes people like myself, who's law-abiding, you're going to make me a felon overnight with one vote. I'd have to turn everything in. And again, those extra rounds for somebody that carries to protect themselves is a matter of life and death for that person. And I'm against it. So that's my stand. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Avian. Next witness, please. Welcome to the committee. Please state your name, the town you are from. You have 1 minute and 15 seconds. You may begin.
Hi, my name is Sherry Ockery, and I'm from Tiverton, Rhode Island. Thank you for taking the time to hear my testimony. I am, really upset that that these hearings are being held, first off, without the ability for people to be there in person, to be able to give our testimony in person, and to be able to come down and spend time showing everybody, exactly how we feel about the bills. I am a woman that lives in Tiverton. I have, I as a woman and a responsible gun owner, believe it's my responsibility to figure out what is safe, and not the right of the state to consider telling me that I no longer have what I believe is the constitutional right that is afforded to me. I worry that, along with thousands of other Rhode Islanders, of becoming a felon because my state wants to pass a bill that is, again, lacking, in my opinion.
Thank you, Sherry, for your testimony. We must move on to our next witness, but thank you for joining us this evening. Next witness, please. Welcome to the committee. Please state your name, the town you are from. You have 1 minute and 15 seconds. You may begin.
My name is Kenneth E. Wilkinson. In looking over the proposed new regulations relating to purchasing and possessing a firearm in Rhode Island, I fail to see where most of them are not covered by state or federal law, and the answer to criminal conduct is strict enforcement of existing laws, not looking for ways to deny lawful ownership of a firearm to honest citizens. Thank you very much for listening to my opinion. And have a good day.
Thank you so much, sir, for joining us this evening. Our next witness, please. Good evening. Welcome to the committee. Please state your name, the town you are from. You have 1 minute and 15 seconds. You may begin. Do we have the call? Welcome to the committee. Please state your name, the town you are from. You have 1 minute and 15 seconds. Please begin.
Hello, I'm Kelly Wilhite. I am a student in Providence at Brown University. And I would like to testify in support of the gun violence prevention bills because I have grown up as part of the mass shooting generation. And ever since I can remember, I have been taught lockdown drills and had to practice for what would happen if someone with a gun came into my school. And it's just been very traumatizing to have to experience that. And I remember one time very recently, I was on my way home from school and I saw that there was an active shooting happening just 5 minutes from my school, and that's something that people should not have to deal with every single day and worry about, and not just in schools, but for everyone around everywhere. And I just think it's very important that we have gun violence prevention bills passed and this legislation be enacted. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your testimony this evening. There is a senator that does have a question for you. Senator De La Cruz.
Thank you for calling in today, Ms. Wilhite. What state are you from? Are you a Rhode Islander or are you from out of state?
I'm from Illinois.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you very much. Our next witness. Good evening. Welcome to the committee. Please state your name, the town you are from. You have 1 minute and 15 seconds. You may begin.
Christine Andrews, Narragansett, Rhode Island. I oppose the gun control, all of the gun control bills. I have family and friends that are legal users of firearms, and I do not want them to become criminal because of the legislation that's under proposal at this time.
Okay.
I oppose all of the gun control bills under consideration at this time.
Thank you very much for your testimony. May we have the next witness, please? Good evening. Welcome to the committee. Please state your name, the town you are from. You have 1 minute and 15 seconds. You may begin.
Good evening. My name is Eric Reifa. I am from Cumberland, Rhode Island. Thanks for the opportunity to speak. First, I would like to oppose any gun control bills and promote the proposed pro-gun bills that are being suggested. It's curious to me that in a time where we see Minneapolis, Seattle, Portland, D.C., Baltimore, and other states on fire from mass riots, we want to disarm law-abiding property owners. Our police seem effectively hamstrung by our political class and stop it well. Are you overwhelmed? You seem unsupported. So my question to those who want to take our rifles and our high-capacity magazines is, why do you wish to hinder our ability to defend our families, homes, and neighborhoods from mobs of rioters and looters? When I look at these laws being proposed, I see laws that only require hardworking, good citizens to be victims. You have no right to require me to be a victim. The Second Amendment is a human right designed by the founders for such times, for our protection. These laws do nothing to stop hardened criminals. These laws do nothing to keep the peace. You make us defenseless for false sense of security and to appease constituents. Reject these anti-gun, anti-American laws.
Thank you for your testimony. Senator De La Cruz has a question for you. Go ahead, Senator.
Eric, thank you, Chair. Eric, thank you so much for calling in. You know, I obviously you know that I share your sentiments of further more gun control not really being a solution. You mentioned high capacity. So I know you agree that 10 rounds is not high capacity. It's how how some people frame it to make it sound as though it's high capacity, but 10 rounds is simply, it's just not high capacity. But I just wanted to leave that there. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator.
I would just add that I think we can see recently in history the fact that people their homes have been surrounded, their places of residence have been assaulted by these mobs. And a 10-round magazine, quite frankly, is not going to do it. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your testimony. Next witness, please. Good evening. Welcome to the committee. Please state your name, the town you're from. You have 1 minute and 15 seconds. You may proceed.
Okay, my name is John Goyet. I am from Westerly, Rhode Island. I'm calling in and to give input on a number of bills that you have. I'm opposed to most of them. The assault weapons, what is called the assault weapons ban, I'm in opposition to that. I'm in opposition in as much as for Rhode Island citizens, we have a right to keep and bear arms. Article 1, Section 22 of the Constitution is clear on that. In Rhode Island, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be shall not be infringed. So my question for the committee is, how can you swear an allegiance to this Constitution that we have and move bills like this forward? The other bill that you have before you is relating to the storage of weapons in a home and locked and that. My question here is that we have laws on the book already for criminal neglect. In the last 5 years in Rhode Island, how many instances
has something like this occurred, where a weapon's been used to harm a child? And then, what were the dispositions of those cases? This bill isn't needed.
Thank you.
You already have laws on the books.
Thank you for your testimony this evening. Next witness, please. Welcome to the committee. Please state your name, the town you are from. You have 1 minute and 15 seconds. You may proceed.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Karen Saul, and I live in Barrington. I'm a constituent of Senator Coyne. I urge this committee to support gun safety legislation, including regulating assault weapons, limiting high-capacity magazines, keeping guns out of schools, prohibiting straw purchasing, and not allowing open carry of loaded long guns. The toll of daily gun violence and repeated mass shootings is a public health emergency. The United States stands in stark contrast to other countries in the scope of this problem. As a physician who practices in Rhode Island, I have seen the effects that gun violence has on patients, families, and communities. This is preventable. The American College of Physicians, along with multiple other physician professional organizations, have called for policies to reduce injuries and deaths by gun violence, and I've submitted a copy of their most recent position paper along with my written testimony earlier this evening. And I urge you to act now on this public health crisis and bring these bills to a floor vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Saul, for your testimony. I believe Senator De La Cruz has a question for you.
Yes.
Go ahead, Senator.
Thank you, Chairman Coyne. Karen, thank you so much for calling in.
Yeah.
Can you do me a favor? Can you define assault weapon for me? What is an assault weapon?
Yeah, I don't. I'm a doctor. I don't own guns, and in my definition of an assault weapon, for my practical definition, is a gun that can fire a lot of rounds in a short period of time. I will leave the specifics up to my legislators, but it's a gun that can cause a significant amount of damage.
Thank you. Senator Rogers has a question for you.
Sure.
So by your definition, again, automatic weapons are outlawed, all semi-automatic. So you're basically saying a semi-automatic weapon is considered an assault rifle, and in that case, it's almost every firearm out there. So that's the thing. A lot of people don't know a lot about firearms, and they say a lot of bullets at one time. Most all the guns out there right now is every time you pull the trigger, a bullet goes out. Like my colleague earlier had said, it's much different than an automatic weapon where you just pull the trigger once and it just keeps going until there's no more bullets left. So a lot of this, I believe, has to do with people not understanding firearms. And if you did, I just ask people to get knowledgeable on it, go to your local range, see how they operate. And many people come back totally changed from when they first thought what they don't know what they don't know is what I'm trying to say. So it's important to get involved, and maybe you'll be able to come up with more informed decisions when you decide these things. But thanks.
Thank you.
No, and thank you. And may I respond to that?
Yes, Ms. Saul.
Thank you. Yeah, and it's not my job this evening to try to describe the specifics of these weapons. I'm trying to give you an overall picture of the public health crisis that guns that can cause a lot of damage in a short period of time can present, and to also give you the perspective of physician groups that also don't necessarily identify the specific weapon, but comment on large capacity magazines and assault type weapons.
I believe Senator De La Cruz has a follow-up question.
I do. Thank you, Chairman Coyne. The thing is when we're testifying before a committee, if we're testifying to curtail a right, as you have done here today, Ms. Saul, is that
Dr. Saul.
I think that you should be able to understand what you're testifying for. So if you're testifying against an assault weapon, then you should at least be able to know what you're advocating for. And an assault weapon in this situation could be a semi-automatic weapon, and that is most guns today. So unless you have a revolver or a pump action or a bolt action, which those are like, you can't even buy those, you would be eliminating almost every firearm. So thank you for calling in. I appreciate you sitting through the hours that you did to testify, and thank you for your work as a physician.
Thank you, and I support the bill as proposed. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Saul, for joining us and for your testimony this evening. Next witness, please. Welcome to the committee. Please state your name, the town you are from. You have 1 minute and 15 seconds. You may proceed.
Hi there, my name's Anna Saul. I'm from Barrington. I just want to say the woman who went before me, Karen Saul, is my mother. She's really damn smart, and I'm really proud of her. I'm 16 years old. I'm a sophomore at Barrington High School, and when I walk into school every day, I should be worried about how I'm going to do on my math test or whether Ethan likes me back, but instead I'm wondering if my math test is going to be interrupted by an active shooter drill or whether I will even live to get up the courage and ask Ethan out again, I walk into school every day and I am terrified about what happens next because I see children like me getting shot and killed every day. So everyone who is here talking about how they need guns to defend them, I have no one to defend me. Okay, these legislators, you are supposed to be defending me. You are supposed to be defending my classmates, and you are not. You need to support this common sense gun legislation. Or otherwise, you're going to keep seeing kids like me not be able to worry about their math tests, not be able to worry about whether or not the boy they likes them back. You're going to see them worried about their death. You're going to see them worried about whether or not they're going to live to come home at the end of the day and tell their mom they love them. Because, again, that was my mom. She's really, really smart, and I love her, and I want to be able to tell her I love her at the end of the day.
Thank you, Anna, for your very passionate and moving testimony. We must move on to our next witness at this time. Welcome to the committee. Please state your name, the town you are from. You have 1 minute and 15 seconds. You may begin.
Hi, good evening. My name is Jennifer Boylan, and I live in Barrington in your district, Chair Coyne. Tonight, I'm testifying on behalf of Moms Demand Action in favor of bills to regulate assault weapons, limit high-capacity magazines, keep guns out of our K through 12 schools, prohibit straw purchasing, and prohibit the open carry of loaded rifles and shotguns in public. My testimony this evening is specific to S415, the assault weapons bill. Las Vegas, Orlando, Newtown, Sutherland Springs, El Paso. When Americans hear the names of these cities recited in sequence, we stop in our tracks and we pause, for we have come to associate this listing of cities with death and tragedy. And indeed, these 5 deadliest mass shootings in America all involve the use of assault weapons. One need not be a weapons expert to know that this type of weapon should not be readily available in our communities. I've been attending hearings on various iterations of this bill for nearly a decade. I am not anti-gun, but I am definitely anti-gun violence. It is past time to pass gun safety bills to the Senate floor for a vote for a safer Rhode Island. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Moving on to our next witness. Good evening. Welcome to the committee. Please state your name, the town you are from. You have 1 minute and 15 seconds. You may begin.
Hi, this is Mary Alice Smith. I'm from Newport, Rhode Island, and I am a constituent of Senator Don Oyers. And I am calling to support the common sense gun laws that are being proposed before the meeting tonight, and to ask them to forward these to the floor for a vote. I am particularly calling in regard to the Safe Schools Act, Senate Bill 73. There is no conceivable reason for anyone to enter our K through 12 schools with a firearm. Yet Rhode Island state law allows concealed carry permit holders to be armed on school grounds without the knowledge of school officials or the police. This includes any school function, classroom, parent-teacher conference, or sports event. Guns are prohibited at the State House and other sensitive buildings, and 43 states prohibit guns in schools except those carried by police and police officers and peace officers.
Thank
Rhode
you.
Island is one of,
Thank you,
okay.
Ms. Smith, for your testimony this evening, and thank you
Okay.
for joining us. Our next witness, please. Good evening. Welcome to the committee. Please state your name, the town you're from. You have 1 minute and 15 seconds. You may begin.
Hi, my name is Ann Gertman, and I live in Senator DeMario's district. I'm a volunteer with Moms Demand Action. As a mom and an educator, I want to urge this committee to support important gun safety legislation, including bills to regulate assault weapons, limit high-capacity magazines, keep guns out of K-12 schools, prohibit straw purchasing, and prohibit open carry of loaded rifles and shotguns in public. High-capacity magazines are frequently used in mass shootings and make it easy for shooters to inflict maximum damage, allowing more shots to be fired without needing to pause to reload. During these horrific attacks, that momentary pause is everything. It provides precious seconds, allowing people to escape a shooter, and can mean the difference between life and death. I strongly support S414 because it would help prevent gun violence, particularly mass shootings, which leave survivors scarred and traumatized. They make us all fear for the safety of our public spaces, and they tear communities apart at the seams, forever linking them with mass death and bloodshed. Please pass these bills to the floor for a vote and help keep Rhode Island safe. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. I believe Senator Rogers has a question for you, ma'am.
Sure.
How you doing? Thank you for calling in
Good.
tonight.
How are you, Senator Rogers?
Good, good. I'm doing good. Do you know what type of gun, statistically, by the FBI and the ATF, by leaps and bounds, is the most commonly used gun in crimes and homicides? Do you know what type of gun?
Sure. So while I appreciate the question, I'm obviously not an expert. I'm a mom, I'm an educator, I'm a volunteer, I'm a Rhode Islander. And I don't really need to know that right now to support this position. I can certainly follow up with you after the hearing, but like I said, I'm here really just to speak
Right, so
about
we as lawmakers have to create laws based on facts and statistics. And
absolutely,
you're talking about an assault weapons ban, and 80% of all the guns used in crimes and homicides is not an assault weapon. Over 80%, it's a handgun, and a large portion of them are revolvers. So, you know, if we think this is going to solve the problem, it's not. So we need to find out which guns are the worst, and it's certainly not the assault weapons. It's like I've said before, it's amazing when you start understanding how guns and what type of guns are, and then you can speak about them. I see too many times people talking about guns, and I come to realize I don't interject on things with insurance in certain areas that are not my wheelhouse, but things that are, I like to speak about them, and I know the facts. And assault weapons are not even the tip of the iceberg, but people are trying to discuss that we need to fix this problem. It isn't a problem. So it's simply just go on and Google ATF facts and FBI statistics, and you'll be able to understand things a little bit better. Thank you.
Well, I agree with you that there needs to be a comprehensive strategy for sure. You know, it's not just going to be laws that that solve this public health crisis, right? But to be honest, you know, I am not a gun owner. I don't live with a gun owner, but many moms, volunteers do. You know, just because I'm not an expert doesn't mean that my testimony here is not as worthy as anyone else's. So if you have any further questions.
Thank you very much. I do have a question from Senator De La Cruz for you.
Sure. Hi, Senator De La Cruz. How are you?
Hi, Ms. Gertman. Thanks for calling in. You know, I applaud you calling in and testifying. I think it's important that no matter where you stand on an issue, you be heard. And I'm, again, so glad that you stuck around to testify. However, I do find it very concerning that individuals will call in to advocate for legislation that they don't really know much about. You know, when I ask, can you define what an assault weapon is? People can't define it. And if we're going to advocate for legislation, we should at least read it and have a very rudimentary understanding of the legislation. Otherwise, we're advocating for something we have no idea what we're talking about. And that is dangerous.
Thank you, Senator. Moving on to our next.
That may be
Oops,
true.
I'm sorry.
Just because you disagree with me doesn't mean that I'm not able to publicly testify in support of this, and I stand behind my position. Thank you.
Thank you very much for
Senator Quinn.
Joining us
May I
this
just say,
evening.
I never said that I disagreed or that I didn't agree to her testifying. In fact, I was very clear that I was happy she testified and exercised the First Amendment right. What I disagree with is when you come to committee, advocate for a bill that you know nothing about and don't have any knowledge on what it does. That I disagree with. Thank you.
Moving on to our next witness. Welcome to the committee. Please state your name, the town you are from. You have 1 minute and 15 seconds. You may begin.
Hello, my name is Suzanne Burnaby. I live in Providence in Senator Golden's district. I submitted written testimony. I'm calling to urge this committee to support gun safety legislation, including the bills to regulate assault weapons, limit high-capacity magazines, and keep guns out of K-12 schools. I did submit written testimony, so I want to just use this time to go back to something that Senator Archambault brought up many hours ago in this meeting, which is it matters less what other states are doing and more what the people of Rhode Island want and are asking for. And a 2020 Rhode Island state poll showed that 70.5% of Rhode Islanders, this is across all parties, favor banning assault weapons, and 71.5% support limiting high-capacity magazines. We live in a time where we really can't agree on much, but 70% is an overwhelming majority. So please move these bills to a vote and let the people, let the voice of the people be heard. Thank you.
Thank you. Very quickly, before we go to Senator Rogers, actually what I said was that it should be about Rhode Island and not about what's national. That was the focus. It wasn't less about what people say. It was more about what matters to Rhode Island. That goes for pros and cons. Senator Rogers.
Exactly. And just to follow up, the statistics I quoted were Rhode Island statistics.
Thank you very much. Senator Rogers has a question for you. Senator Rogers.
Sure thing.
Thank you. And that was a push poll, and we all know how specific polls that are generated by specific groups with an agenda will do a push poll, and that's done on both sides, and both sides are guilty of that. But again, my question is, we talk about assault weapons, and like my colleague Senator Dela Cruz, we like to ask the question, when somebody advocates to ban an assault rifle, what is an assault rifle to you? Seeing how you're advocating to ban it, what in your mind is an assault rifle? Is it, just please enlighten me what you think assault rifle is.
Any weapon that has the ability to kill multiple people at once.
So that would be any gun. So you consider all guns to be an assault.
Listen, I'm here to advocate for a specific bill, and so the people who are more educated in the terminology of the law have created the bill, and I'm here to support that. But yes, me personally, I would, if you're asking me personally, would I prefer not to have these weapons? That is my personal opinion, and that, I have a right to my own opinion.
All guns have the ability to kill multiple people. So you are advocating, in your opinion, you would like all guns banned, correct?
No, I'm not advocating, your right to go hunting. That's not what I'm advocating. These specific weapons have time and again been used.
Senator, just let her finish for 1 second. Go ahead.
Has the ability to kill multiple people, and that would be every gun.
Listen, what I'm trying to tell you is that the majority of Rhode Islanders think that these weapons should not be allowed, and I believe that if you already own an assault weapon, this bill would not pertain to you because current ownership is grandfathered in under these bills.
Thank you very much. We're gonna move on. Thank you very much. Thank you. Good evening. Welcome to the committee. Would you please state your name, the town that you're from, and you have 1 minute and 15 seconds to testify. You may begin.
Thank you. My name is Candace Brown Casey. I'm a resident of Cranston, and I'm represented by Senator Miller. I'm a volunteer with Moms Demand Action because the idea that my niece, nephew, or godson could be one of the hundreds of Americans shot, wounded, or killed due to gun violence every day is unacceptable to me. I'm motivated to keep taking action because of survivors of gun violence who courageously share their experiences. I strongly support the gun safety bills that are before you today, including the bills to prohibit high-capacity magazines, regulate assault weapons, keep guns out of schools, prohibit open carry of loaded long guns in public places, and prohibit straw purchasing. Straw purchasing in particular is an ongoing problem in Rhode Island. Straw purchases have resulted in many illegal guns circulating on our streets and may have contributed to the rise in homicides and shootings in Providence in the last year. This bill will help stop illegal firearms trafficking, hold people accountable for purchasing guns for those prohibited from having them, and make the state safer. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Senator Rogers.
Thank you for calling in this evening. You had mentioned, really kind of perked me up, you discussed the straw purchasing, and you went on to say that the facts that contributed to more crime and more gun violence in Rhode Island. Where are you getting those statistics on straw purchasing that's creating all this chaos and anarchy that you mentioned?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for the question. As you probably know, because the Attorney General's office also testified today, there have been some recent high-profile cases involving straw purchasing, including one individual who was involved with the reselling of 80 some odd firearms. And this bill, as drafted, will give law enforcement a vital tool in preventing these cases and also in prosecuting them to keep our streets safer from illegal guns and to keep guns out of the hands of those who are not permitted to have them.
So just to add to that, straw purchasing is already against the law, and that's why the guy was charged with purchasing those firearms. So that law is already a federal law and a state law that it is against the law to do that. So, again, it's already against the law. Criminals are going to be criminals.
Yeah, but I think the measures in this law, including the reporting of the number of guns that an individual seeks to buy, that's a very strong indicator of the intent to resell or to conduct a straw purchase. And I think this law gives a lot more teeth to the existing laws and will prohibit our law enforcement community to do an even better job.
Understood, but any citizen can purchase 100 firearms. I can purchase 100 firearms, and this law wouldn't stop me at any gun store, and I can sell 100 of those firearms and transfer those to an FFL to anybody else, 100 different people. That is absolutely legal to do and allowed and not against the law. This bill will not stop that.
I think the bill I've testified on and the other bills, I'm an attorney by my day job. I've read them all closely. They give very, very specific definitions of how they will achieve the intent of these laws and how they will be carried out, how they will be enforced, and how they apply against existing gun laws. And I think that they are very vital to making Rhode Island an even safer state. And I know there have been questions about constitutionality, but these laws are written really well. I think the sponsors and their legal staff did a wonderful job, and the Attorney General as well. And they're not vague, they're not overbroad, and they will keep us safer.
Thank you, Senator Rogers.
Yeah, just to be clear, anybody, regardless of this bill, can buy 80 guns in a year through a gun store or any FFL dealer transfer through a private sale, and then can turn around and sell those guns through an FFL dealer or a gun store and transfer the ownership out of them out. So if she thinks the intent of this bill is stopping somebody from buying 100 guns and selling 100 guns, that's perfectly legal. And the straw buyer it's already illegal to straw buy under federal law and not transfer that gun ownership through an FFL licensed dealer to the new owner.
Thank you very much.
Sure. If you would like to pass a law to curtail that, I would probably be in support as well.
Excellent. Thank you
I'm
very
sure you
much.
would.
We're going to move on. Thank you very much. Welcome to the committee. Would you please state your name, your town that you're from, and you have 1 minute and 15 seconds to testify. You may begin.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Roseanne Zimmerman, and I live in South Kingstown, Senator Valvardi's district. I'm calling to urge this committee to support Attorney General Narona's package of important gun safety legislation. Bills 73, 129, 406, 415, 414, 415, 416, 417, and 419. Gun safety is important to me because I care about my state and I care about the safety of all members of our community. Gun safety laws are evidence-based. When assault weapons are used in a mass shooting, 6 times as many people are shot. States with high-capacity magazine prohibitions experience shootings with 3 or more victims killed or injured at half the rate of states without high-capacity magazine prohibitions. A study found that bulk purchases are a risk factor for gun trafficking, and guns sold in bulk are up to 64% more likely to be used in crime. Please move these bills to the floor for debate and up or down votes. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much. You have a nice evening. Good evening. Welcome to the committee. Would you please state your name, what town you're calling from, and you have 1 minute, 15 seconds to testify. You may begin.
All right. My name is Matthew McCoy. I'm a resident of North Kingstown, Rhode Island, and I'm a constituent of Senator DiMario. I'm a retired naval officer, experienced in the use of firearms. I'm also a proud volunteer with Moms Demand Action, and I am also a advocate for suicide prevention in the veterans community. I strongly support the gun safety bills that are before you today. I have read each of them, understand their details, and do not need them explained to me. As a member of the U.S. Navy, I served overseas following the terrorist attacks of 9/11 and trained to carry semi-automatic and fully automatic firearms in the performance of my duties as a member of the ship's security force and visit board search and seizure team. I also was involved in counter-piracy ops. I feel strongly that assault weapons, high-capacity magazines, and the open carry of loaded guns do not belong in a military setting and have no place on our state capitals and out in public. I ask you to support these important bills and advance them to the Senate floor for a vote. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You have a nice night. Good evening. Welcome to the committee. Would you please state your name, the town that you're calling from, and you have 1 minute and 15 seconds to testify. You may begin.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Linda Crott of Brennan, and I live in Coventry, Rhode Island, which is Senator Rogers' district. I am calling to urge this committee to support Attorney General Narona's package of important gun safety legislation, Bills 73, 129, 406, 414, 415, 416, 417, and 419. Please move these bills to the floor for debate and an up and down vote. These bills are akin to laws in other states, including Massachusetts, Connecticut, and Vermont, which have been ruled constitutional and consistent with Second Amendment rights, and they save lives. 59% of mass shootings from 2009 to 2018 involved firearms with high-capacity magazines, and guns sold in bulk are up to 64% more likely to be used in crime. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much. You have a nice... Senator Dela Cruz has a question for you. Senator Dela Cruz.
I do. Thank you so much for calling in, Ms. Bennett. Can you tell me where you obtained those statistics that you used?
I was given those statistics by the local Coalition for Gun Safety.
I see. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You have a nice evening. Good evening. Welcome to the committee. Would you please state your name, the town that you're from, and you have 1 minute and 15 seconds to testify. You may begin.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. My name is John Wesley. I am the Director of Policy at the Rhode Island Coalition Against Domestic Violence, based in Warwick. We are here on behalf of our member agencies and our task force of survivors, SOAR, in strong support of the gun safety legislation before you this evening. When a person who uses violence to gain power and control over their loved ones has easy access to a gun, especially dangerous firearms such as the one being discussed tonight, the results can too easily be tragic. Research has found that women in abusive relationships are 5 times more likely to be murdered by their partners when that partner has access to a gun. Unfortunately, the risk to other people that are close to the domestic violence victim also increases with access to a gun. In our own report on domestic violence homicide in Rhode Island, from 2006 to 2015, every bystander who was murdered during the attack on a domestic violence victim was killed with a gun. A study of U.S. gun violence from 2009 to 2016 found that the majority of mass shootings were related to domestic or family violence, with children being impacted severely, 25% of the mass shooting fatalities being children. We've seen during the past year a spike in domestic violence risk factors, and unfortunately also an increase in domestic violence homicides here in Rhode Island, where we saw an increase both in the number of homicide victims in 2020 compared to the past few years, and an increase to the incidents involving firearms, which were the vast majority of them. And lastly, to close, when domestic violence advocates are doing a safety planning with victims, the presence of a firearm is one of the things that indicates a high chance and a high lethality factor for domestic violence victims. So when advocates are working with a survivor and they know there's a gun in the household or easy access to a gun, that's a red flag that things could easily escalate into a deadly situation. And that's when our advocates work very strongly with survivors on a safety plan and making sure the individual is disarmed.
Thank you
when they
very
do a
much.
screen.
Thank you very much. Senator Rogers has a question.
Thank you, Chairman, for letting me speak, and thank you for calling in. I appreciate your sentiment, and you're clearly are revolving around domestic violence. So I would ask you, would you advocate for, let's say, a woman and women that have been domestic violence victims or anybody, would you be an advocate for them for self-defense if they were interested in getting a firearm because of fear of being by their abuser being a victim? Would you advocate for their if they said, hey, I'd like to have a firearm to defend themselves? Would you be an advocate for that, or would you be against that?
Thanks, Senator. It is not best practice in terms of the advocates that we work with at our member agencies to advocate for bringing another gun into an already violent situation. This could escalate the violence to an even deadlier situation where, unfortunately, the risk not only to the victim would increase, but the risk to the family members. As I said, in our study, we saw that with a gun in a DV situation, the risk to children in the home and the risk of a homicide or a domestic violence murder-suicide increases exponentially. So no, safety planning would not involve bringing another gun into the situation in an already very dangerous situation that could easily escalate into a deadly incident. And unfortunately, we see these incidents every year here in Rhode Island.
Thank you, Senator Rogers.
As a rebuttal, I think personally it would be a de-escalation, because if the abuser knew that the person he was going to abuse could defend themselves with a firearm, I'm pretty sure the abuser, they're mostly cowards, would think twice about it. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Senator Dela Cruz has a question.
Some domestic violence survivors directly who have lived experience in this area. But I appreciate your time, Senators. Thanks for the time tonight.
Thank you. Senator Dela Cruz has a question for you. Senator Dela Cruz, go ahead.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much, Chair Archibald. So the issue here is, we're going to speak in general terms. Right? Generally, women are smaller than men, generally. That's the rule of thumb. And so a firearm is an equalizer for women. And as a woman, I know that the best way to protect myself is to equalize the playing field. So if I'm afraid for my life, then the best thing for me to do is to obtain a weapon to defend myself, because the police aren't going to be there the instant I need them. Now, thankfully, I have a great husband. I would never need anything like that. I'm in a great relationship, feel very safe. But for in an instance where a woman is in an abusive relationship, it takes seconds to grab a firearm and protect oneself, whereas it could take many, many minutes, and minutes count when your life's on the line. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Dela Cruz. Thank you very much. Appreciate your testimony.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You have a nice night. Good evening. Welcome to the committee. Would you please state your name, the town that you're from, and you have 1 minute and 15 seconds to testify. You may begin.
Thank you very much. Good evening. My name is Cynthia Rosengard. I live in Barrington, which is Senator Coyne's district. I'm calling to urge this committee to support important gun safety legislation, including bills that will regulate assault weapons, limit high-capacity magazines, keep guns out of kindergarten through 12 schools, prohibit straw purchasing, and prohibit open carry of loaded rifles and shotguns in public. The issue of gun safety is important to me because I am a parent, I'm a mental health professional, and I'm a responsible gun owner. As a parent, it's unacceptable to me that my children have grown up living in fear of school shootings. As a psychologist, I have seen the trauma of clients who are living with the fear of mass shootings. And as a responsible gun owner, none of these common sense bills will infringe on my Second Amendment rights. I urge you to please pass these bills to the floor for a vote, and I thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your testimony. You have a nice night. Good evening. Welcome to the committee. Would you please state your name, the town that you're from, and you have 1 minute and 15 seconds to testify. You may begin.
All right. Well, good evening, everybody. My name is Boris Bally, and I'm from Providence, Rhode Island, which is Senator Mary Ellen Goodwin's district. I'm an artist. As a matter of fact, I'm the guy that made the gun totem sculpture that sits across from the Superior Court building. I am calling to urge this committee to support important gun safety legislation that the Attorney General and the Campaign for Gun Violence Prevention RI is supporting. This includes bills to regulate assault weapons, limit high-capacity magazines, keep guns out of schools, prohibit straw purchasing, and prohibit open carry of loaded rifles and shotguns in public. I myself am a gun owner. I've grown up around guns all my life. I've enjoyed practice shooting, sport shooting. Lots of my friends are hunters. And I support reasonable laws to enforce the safety. Any constitutional legal right is also constrained by the responsibilities that are entwined with them. Two people important in my life were killed with guns, and that has affected me deeply. Furthermore, as a dual citizen, a Swiss and U.S. citizen, I'm very aware of the reasonable Swiss laws regarding weapons. Swiss laws have been put into place to protect the citizens, and the consequences of breaking these laws are severe. The Swiss have had in place what the Second Amendment refers to as a well-organized militia. Swiss soldiers' service rifles are stored privately at their homes. Lots of my cousins in Switzerland have their, military rifles at home.
Thank you very much. I'm going to have to wrap you up. Right. I've let you go about another 30 seconds. Thank you very much.
Have a good night.
Thank you. You as well. Thank you very much. Good evening. Welcome to the committee. Would you please state your name, the town that you're from, and you have 1 minute and 15 seconds to testify. You may begin.
Thank you. Hello. My name is Dr. Audrey Kupchin, and I live in Barrington, which is Senator Cynthia Coyne's district. I'm a primary care internist and a clinical assistant professor of medicine at the Alfred Medical School at Brown University. I'm a longtime advocate for common sense gun laws. I think one of the approaches to the current problem of gun safety is best viewed through a public health lens. Take the example of car accident-related deaths, which were rampant in the past. There was no effort to remove cars from the road. Instead, there were laws passed to make them safer. We would not consider driving a car these days that did not have a seatbelt, nor would we allow children to play freely jumping from the front seat to the back seat as I did as a child. Infants are all in protective baby seats, and there are drunk driving laws. With these common sense laws, car crash deaths have decreased by more than 2/3, even though there are more cars on the road and many more miles traveled. What is needed now to reduce the number of gun-related deaths are laws to make owning and using guns safer for everyone. The bills being considered today would bring us a huge step closer to saving lives. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your testimony. You have a nice evening, Doctor. Good evening. Welcome to the committee. Would you please state your name, the town that you're from, and you have 1 minute and 15 seconds to testify. You may begin.
Thank you so much. Good evening, Senators. You must be very tired by now. I'll keep this brief. My name is Dr. Carol Doros, and I live in Barrington, Rhode Island, in Senator Coyne's district. I've been an internist in Rhode Island for over 30 years. I'm calling to urge the committee to please support the important gun legislation being proposed in Bills 73, 129, 406, 414, 415, 416, 417, and 419 to regulate assault weapons, limit high-capacity magazines, keep guns out of the K-12 schools, prohibit straw purchasing, and prohibit open carry of loaded rifles and shotguns in public. There's no one solution to reducing the injuries and deaths from guns and gun violence, but we need to do what we can. The bottom line is I basically feel it's time to move these bills to the Senate floor for a vote. And please, your actions in doing this can save lives. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your time. You have a nice evening. Good evening. Welcome to the committee. Would you please state your name, the town that you're from, and you have 1 minute and 15 seconds to testify. You may begin.
Good evening. My name is Rabbi Howard Voss Altman, and I live in Providence, Rhode Island, in Senator Gail Golden's district. I'm calling to urge this committee to support Attorney General Narona's package of important gun safety legislation as represented by Bills 73, 129, 406, 414, 415, 416, 417, and 419. This legislative dispute is not about gun control. It is about gun safety and public health. Just as seatbelts were imposed on automobiles, just as warning labels and age restrictions were placed on cigarettes, likewise, common sense safety regulations on firearms are necessary as a response to a public health crisis. After every mass murder, from Atlanta to Boulder to Rock Hill, South Carolina, and those are just in the last few weeks, we hear the same song. Our thoughts and prayers are with the victims of this tragedy. Well, as a rabbi, leave the thoughts and prayers to me. That's my job. But you can do so much more. You can act. And I urge you to do just that by supporting the Attorney General's gun safety legislation. Thank you.
Thank you, Rabbi. Rabbi, I will say I appreciate your prayers, but I'm a man of prayer, and I pray every single day, all the time. I'm in constant prayer. I think we all need to pray, and the more we all pray, the better world it's going to be. But thank you for your testimony. You have a nice evening.
Thank you very much.
Good evening. Welcome to the committee. Would you please state your name, the town that you're from, and you have 1 minute and 15 seconds to testify. You may begin.
My name is Diane Behrens. I live in Barrington, Rhode Island, which is Senator Coyne's district. I'm a retired philosophy professor. I'm calling to urge the committee to support the 5 critically important gun safety bills before you. 2020 was a deadly year for our country. COVID-19 caused more than 300,000 deaths. Gun deaths surpassed 3 million, and for the first time, they spiked in Rhode Island as well. Few would deny that we have faced a public health crisis with COVID. We must treat gun deaths similarly, just as we need to wear masks, wash our hands frequently, avoid large indoor gatherings, and get vaccinated to protect ourselves and others from COVID. To protect ourselves and others from gun violence, We need to enact common sense gun legislation. Gun violence is a public health crisis. Furthermore, gun violence has created an urgent economic problem in Rhode Island. An average of 46 people die and 135 people are wounded by guns every year. These deaths and injuries cost the state many millions of dollars, much of which is covered by taxpayers. Please vote to pass these bills to the Senate floor. And please listen to the eloquent 16-year-old Anna from Barrington who spoke a little while ago. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your testimony. You have a nice evening. Good evening. Welcome to the committee. Would you please state your name, the town that you're from, and you have 1 minute and 15 seconds to testify. You may begin.
Good evening. My name is Joy Weisford, and I live in Senator Valverde's district. 22 years ago, I was in Colorado when the shooting at Columbine High School occurred and saw firsthand the horror that transformed that community forever. Since then, we've seen tragedy after tragedy unfold, the scale of the carnage of which could be lessened by stronger, more sensible gun laws. Even if we think we're immune, the reality is that no one is immune. My family belongs to the Tree of Life congregation in Pittsburgh, where 11 people lost their lives 2 years ago. They never would have thought it could happen to them. My 16-year-old nephew saw his neighborhood become a crime scene, and his worldview and sense of security was shattered. In a separate event that same year, a classmate of his was shot and killed, and the school had to grapple with how to handle the situation. Did they take away his desk in the classroom as if he was never there, or leave his desk there empty as a daily reminder of his absence? There's no right answer. There never will be. My personal feeling is that I would give up anything, any possession, any hobby, to bring back a mother, a father, a husband, a wife, a child. There are other ways to defend your home and property than with assault weapons and high-capacity magazines. I fully support the gun safety measures under consideration and hope they pass out of committee and move on to a full House vote. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your testimony. You have a nice evening. Good evening. Welcome to the committee. Please state your name, the town that you're from, and you have 1 minute and 15 seconds to testify. You may begin.
Thank you, Chair Altrinball and members of the Senate Judiciary Committee. My name is Caitlin Restivo, and I'm a resident of Wakefield, Rhode Island. I'm a constituent of Senator Sosnowski. I'm calling because I support the gun sense bills being discussed today. I'm speaking today regarding Bill S0073 to keep guns out of K-12 schools. The issue of gun safety is important to me because my grandfather died of suicide using a gun before I was born. I've seen firsthand the impact of losing someone this way can have on a family. I'm also a mother and have school-aged children, 3 and 7 years old, and when they returned from school, letting me know that they had to perform drills by staying silent at their seats or hiding under their teachers' desks, I know that this is to protect them in case someone is armed and dangerous in their building. Thankfully, this does not scare them yet, but it terrifies me. This does not happen in other countries. There's a real problem in our country, and you, our legislators, have power to change it. There's an opportunity available today to help protect the citizens of Rhode Island by voting these gun safety laws out of committee, and I urge you to consider voting to bring them to the floor. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your testimony. You have a nice evening.
You too.
Good evening. Welcome to the committee. Would you please state your name, the town that you're from, and you have 1 minute and 15 seconds to testify. You may begin.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Patty Alley, and I live in South Kingstown in Senator Sosnowski's district. I am testifying in support of Senator Seveni's bill, number 406. In the summer of 2020, my family faced the devastation of losing my sister Allie to gun suicide. Like many others during the pandemic, Allie was struggling with her Buttonwoods hair salon, the Wavy Daisy, as well as with the abrupt end of her 10-year relationship. Allie's fiancé was active duty military and a firearms safety instructor for the state police at the time of her death. The gun Allie used to take her own life was the .38 that her fiancé referred to as his personal carry. He habitually stashed the gun in an easily accessible location known to all who lived in the home. My father taught me that with great power comes great responsibility. I am asking that gun owners store their weapons safely. It only takes one unsecured gun and one bullet to end a life. This is a tragedy that can and does happen to all kinds of families. Please support Senator Sevny's Bill number 406 for safe gun storage. The family you save from this pain could be your own. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your testimony. You have a nice evening.
Thank
you. Good evening. Welcome to the committee. Would you please state your name, the town you're from, and you have 1 minute and 15 seconds to testify. You may begin.
Hi there, my name's Tim Thorpe from Warren, Rhode Island. I just wanted to say that, oh boy, I'm trying to find my place, I apologize. In regards to any gun legislation, I feel that, you know, the common sense gun laws proposed by Moms Demand Action and the legislators that are supporting them are essential to our community. Obviously, with the current culture of everything that's going on, it's important that we create legislation that makes sure that both our community members and the individuals who make the choice to possess guns are in good sound mind and abiding by the laws of that are proposed. You know, I've always more or less lived by the standard that anybody can have a bad day. I know that was recently verbiage in the situation out of Atlanta, but you know, protecting people from others and their ability to have a bad day and make somebody else's day worse is what's more or less essential to the communities of Rhode Island, and I'd appreciate it if the committee took into consideration all the legislation put in front of them.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your testimony. Senator Rogers has a question. Senator Rogers.
2 questions. Do you own any firearms? Just kind of wondering.
No, I do not. I know in my career field, it's more likely than not that my peers do own firearms. I am trained in firearms. However, through that training, I know the genuine lethalness of them. So that's where, you know, more or less common sense gun laws and gun legislation.
So you talked about somebody having a bad day and then turning around and using that and taking other lives with it. Would you not agree that someone could have a bad day driving a motor vehicle and drive it into a bunch of people eating outside of a restaurant and cause just as much damage?
I think in regards to
if that's the case, then we should ban cars too, right?
No. So as far as that goes, you know, when we're talking about cars and somebody having a bad day, yeah, absolutely, that somebody could do that. But also in regards to cars, we mandate seat belts. So we look to provide the most safety for the utilities that are in place with that safety or with that item, let's call it. So, you know,
so the guy driving the car would be wearing a seatbelt, but he would still kill all the people in front of the restaurant if he had a bad day and he drove that car into them. That's the point I'm trying to get.
But no different than if somebody had a firearm with the legislation put in front of you. Maybe they don't have as many rounds of ammo in that weapon. You know, no different than as far as, you know, if somebody's wearing their seatbelt. It's all about the path to least resistance and making sure that, you know, there are laws in place to provide the highest level of safety to both the individuals who possess firearms and people who are on the other side of those firearms or cars. It's about protecting the driver and the people on the sidewalk.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your testimony. You have a good night.
You as well. Thank you.
Thank you.